Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. We're taking a look here at Floki. I actually haven't looked at this in quite some time, so thank you again to my community members and, of course, a handful of other folks asking for me to go ahead and cover this, and congrats to a lot of members who are actually taking some serious profits on this guy too. While it's not available in a lot of different exchanges, it's definitely got a pretty significant following. So we'll take a look at this and much more. And just know if you are new to the channel, I love teaching people how to trade. I hope that you can learn something here today and you can walk away from this hopefully knowing more. But if you take a look here at my Discord, you can see some of my traders are doing really awesome with just a 20x leverage, 322%. So well done, Sakas, one of my admins. And of course, my other admins are doing very well too with some short positions on Bitcoin, BNB, and Litecoin. Those are some of my favorite coins to long and short. So personally, I think that's really awesome you're doing that. Keep up the good work, everyone. I just love what you're doing here. So furthermore, too, we're all using either ByBit or Bitget. Okay, now ByBit, I have a recent partnership with them, and I'm super happy about this because they allow for us to use Cornix and ByBit. So every time I send out a signal, it's automatically done through ByBit, and they have a lot of competition and bonus deposit rewards, so be sure to use the link down below to register so you can be part of that as well. Every time there's essentially a competition, you're going to automatically be eligible for that. Same thing with Bitget as well. They offer typically a $10,000 prize pool monthly. That does depend on the volume that we're trading as a community. Okay, so the more volume, the higher the prize pool, for lack of a better term. So check that out in your own time, of course. Absolutely awesome. And you will need a VPN for either of these two services if you want to use leverage. 3 months free with a 12-month plan if you decide to use ExpressVPN. Thank you, Express, for allowing for my community to be safe and not sorry. So here's the thing with Floki. The Fibonacci's are going to be a little weird here, and let me explain what I mean by that. Because we've got a significant run here with not a lot of relevant recent data. So what we want to do in most cases is kind of just draw out Fibonacci retracement levels from previous time frames, give us the larger significant support and resistance levels, and then of course draw out some Fibonacci retracement levels for some more recent information here. So what we probably want to do is mark the key ones here. So strong resistance level 0.786, commonly a strong resistance, right there at about 34,400. We've also got another one here as well. Let's go ahead and draw out a second one at 0.618. This is one of my favorite Fibonacci retracement levels because it's absolutely a strong resistance or support level depending on which direction you're heading. We can see right now it's getting rejected pretty significant right there. Okay. Furthermore, as well, we want to kind of draw some newer Fibonacci retracement levels also. But let's go ahead and draw one more out here, that good old halfway point, 0.5 Fibonacci. Okay, so we got those levels there. We want to go ahead and draw out some new levels too. Okay, so oftentimes what you do is take the most recent low to the most recent high. Okay, so now that yesterday's candlestick is closed, we can effectively use that, right? So a lot of times what you can do in this situation, if you want to see how much further it can run, you can reverse it and kind of get an idea of how much higher we can go. In other words, we get to 2.618, which is egregious, but absolutely still possible. We could see somewhere in the range of 62,000. Am I saying that correctly? Sorry, 6,200. I apologize. 6,200, right there at the 6,200 mark. Okay, that's a rough estimate. Again, absolutely, if this continues to run, there are no guarantees on that. But if you look at its history, it has done very, very well for itself in the past, right? Not saying it's going to do that again, but it could absolutely happen, right? So we'll talk about that here in a minute, but that's essentially where we're at right now for the Fibonacci retracement levels. We can see some consistency here right at the 0.618 and one right there again at the 0.786 mark. So let's do this here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the RSI and kind of see what's going on. Well, RSI is peaking up at 90 right now. And oftentimes when you see 90 on the RSI, it's going to try to pull itself back. Okay, so for lack of better terms, when we first had our relative strength index here, keep in mind there's a 14-day time frame, right? So this RSI started here 14 days after the trading opened, came up there, went well above 70, hit right around 87, and came back down on the RSI, but it took a good 5 or 6 days before that momentum started to taper off, right? So again, the RSI broke through 70 right here, and it took all the way to right about here before it came back down below 70, right? So there's more room to run. So right now, with the price being over 70, while that's really high, there's still more potential for it to go up, right? Just keep in mind, the best time to sell based on RSI, if you're going to use that specifically, is when the RSI comes back down. That's usually the best strategy. So right now, it could, even though it looks absolutely overextended, there's still more potential for it to run, okay? That being said, RSI is still looking great, even though it's extremely overextended there. Let's take a quick look, though, and see if this is a healthy continuation, because we can see we got a nice little reset here, right? We got a good period of consolidation before it took off. So hypothetically, we're only 4 days into this trend, this 9-day trend, right? We could potentially have 5 more days of continuation. Now the probability that's fairly low because typically you're going to find a red day somewhere in there. Usually it comes on the 4th or 5th day following 3 white soldiers. So if you're not familiar with that candlestick pattern, basically 1, 2, 3 candles and then the 4th day is supposed to be red. Well, technically the 3rd day was kind of a red day if you think about it because the retrace is so significant that today it's running. Okay, so there was enough consolidation for it to continue to leg up. There's got to be some kind of fundamental catalyst likely pushing this up because no other coin's really doing this right now. That said, just be mindful of the fact that there are things referred to as pumps and dumps, or pump and dump essentially, where we could very well see this price pull back significantly. So be cautious and careful if you are holding a long position. I would say just continue to move your stop loss higher. That's probably the best recommendation. Taking a look at the 4 hour, let's go ahead and take a quick peek here. Got some pretty significant corrections here. Again, we saw this overextension right here at this point, right? So the price comes up, hits a 9, gets enough, just barely enough time to consolidate. Another about 20 hours consolidation. Price legs up all the way to right here at about a 7, and then comes right back down, yanks down. So we got rejected pretty hard off this Fibonacci retracement level, the previous longer term Fibonacci retracement, about 2,800, almost even at 2,800. Price comes down to bounce off this current Fibonacci retracement level, the halfway point, right there at about 2,000. So between 2,000 and 2,800 is the obvious range here. Now, is it going to break this range up here? Well, it's hard to say. It is forming a handle type of pattern. It's pretty ugly because it's very sporadic, but generally speaking, it's absolutely strong right now. And what we want to look at it would be the RSI and the MACD here as well. We can see we're getting rejected by a 70 on the RSI for now, but there's potential for it to break above. Now, what's the probability of that breaking through there? Well, it's fairly high because we had a MACD convergence here. Instead of diverging and coming back down, it just bounced right back up. Okay, so this is fairly all over the place. I recommend extreme caution when you take trades like this. Make sure you use low leverage and low position size when you're doing something, but generally speaking, this does show that this has a lot of strength, even though it's overextended, but it has enough period of consolidation here to warrant this next leg up. So I would not be surprised if we break through 70 and then shoot hard from there. There will probably be a short squeeze if it breaks through this level. Okay, so again, cautious and careful when you're trading this coin, but generally speaking, showing a lot of strength here, and there's no reason to expect it just to drop right now from here, unless of course Bitcoin drops really hard. But that's the funny thing about this. Bitcoin technically has dropped very hard, and you can see we had a strong 4 hour candle here roughly 12 hours ago. We compare that with Floki, while it was strong, it's bouncing back super hard. Okay, so it tells us there's a lot of independence from Bitcoin, and that's a really good sign for an altcoin to have. All right, so 4 hour and the daily both look fairly strong. No reason to bet against the house, right? We got some positive contributing factors. Let's take a look at the 1 hour and see if there's anything else that indicates that. We've got a 3 on TD sequential, implying we have another 6 to 8 hours roughly of potential continuation to the upside. We are likely above the cloud, is my speculation. We are holding above the cloud, which is awesome. And the upper and lower lead are effectively holding in place. So the only thing that's kind of disheartening here, and this is just based on momentum, that significant decrease from before is kind of residual. So we got this conversion line that's below the baseline right now, and it doesn't really tell us that we want to have a buy signal to go long yet, but it's almost there, right? Same thing with the lagging span. It's almost free and clear of price action too. So, I know we're a little premature here, but generally speaking, this does look like it wants to break out and continue higher. Right, so again, do you want to go on that or do you want to go on confirmation? Me personally, I'd wait for the price to kind of level itself out here for a little bit longer and then leg up. But again, you could miss out on the opportunity. So for the most part, what do we extract here? We kind of telling us that on the daily, we're looking pretty strong, albeit overextended on the RSI. But once again, we want to take our profits when the RSI comes back down, not when it's going up. So in essence, right now, we're in a situation where we have to wait for the price action to kind of slow down a little bit before we see a definitive direction. But it looks a lot more likely than the price going to go up than it would go down. So hopefully that makes sense for you. I described that correctly, but generally speaking, we have a much more likelihood of continuation to the upside than the downside. Just make sure if you had a long position open, speaking to my community members here, you adjust your stop loss higher and continue to, prepare for the price action turning itself around. Okay, because it could very well happen. But once more, we have slightly more inclination for the price to increase than decrease from here, and I think that's something that we need to kind of focus on and kind of let ourselves use that as potential for the future. So once again, future potential here, I'm just saying hypothetically the price does break through this resistance here at about 2,800. The next stop would be 3,000. If we break through 3,000, then likely we'll see somewhere in the range of 3,400 to 3,500. So if I were to have a profit target, I'd have it right around 3,400 if we break above 3,000. and at that point continue to see where we're at. Right, so keep reevaluating. The important thing about TA is that you can't just do it once and call it good. It's not like it's done forever. Things change, things constantly adjusting. So for the most part, we're seeing a lot more buy signals than short signals. But I would just recommend and consider waiting a little bit longer. We do have FOMC meeting tomorrow. That could definitely shift the dynamic. I do feel like Bitcoin is slightly bearish for the moment, and that could change things for Floki as well. All right, hopefully that was helpful and sensible for you. Let me know if it did work out well, and obviously if you want to become a community member, cryptocash.tech is a site, link down below. Consider joining before month end, just because we are adjusting the rates to effectively be able to maximize your benefits. So check that out in your own time, cryptocash.tech. Look forward to working with you. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you soon.